Hi-Rez turns on the Paladins closed beta switch with no NDA, Tera gives us a longer sneak peek at the Brawler update, Blade and Soul announces a launch date for the West and a brand new class for the Chinese version, and Path of Exile puts us through the Trials of Ascendancy. What's happening, guys? James Ballon here with MMOHuts.com with a quick weekly recap for MMO news and announcements for the week ending November 23rd, 2015. Starting out the news this week, we've got 2 new videos for Paladins ushering in the closed beta, which kind of came out of nowhere and started on November 17th. Dry Bear introduces the game and a little of what to expect in the closed beta trailer that you see playing here. If you're lucky enough to get a key into the closed beta, which might not be that hard actually, from what it seems, not exactly sure. The closed beta for North America is limited from noon to midnight Eastern Standard Time each day. Otherwise, it's pretty open. The best part here is that there isn't any NDA on the game, so if you do happen to get in, you can actually stream and record footage. So hopefully I can get in and show you guys what to expect very soon. The other video is a little introduction to the champions in the game. Kind of like a Borderlands style thing going on here, but the gameplay actually looks fantastic so far. Almost like a combination of Gigantic and Overwatch, if you ask me. Seeing that Overwatch is now buy-to-play, Paladins here is definitely a good option to fall back on. Sign up for a beta key from their official website or keep your eyes peeled for random giveaways. And speaking of games like Overwatch, Nexon's new competitive team-based shooter LawBreakers made its way back into the news this past week. Here we see the first dev diary discussing the map design process in the game, talking about the first map they produced, which is called Grandview. The video goes into detail on how the creative team decides what and where to place significant objects on the maps and why those objects are significant, and how they create basic environments to test the skills and movements of the characters to actually fit well with the features in the map. It seems to be a pretty creative and crazy process if you're into that sort of thing, so check out the dev diary at the site posted at MMOHuts.com to keep up with the LawBreakers development progress. The week before last, I mentioned the Revenant class being released in Trove, and I also mentioned that the new Battle Arena was supposed to get introduced to the public servers during that particular patch, but it turns out it was a little bit delayed, and the beta actually arrived this past week. So you can now enter the Battle Arena portal in the new hub, and once both teams queued up, have 5 players, the match begins and ends after about 5 minutes. For now, the battle is a capture the flag style match, so the team with the most captures at the end of the match, of course, wins the game, and later on there'll be different types of PvP modes, a lot more original than your basic capture the flag. Currently, there are a decent amount of battlegrounds available, of course. More will be added in the future, so hop in and try out the beta now that it's available. Keep in mind, though, you do have to be Mastery 10 in order to enter. And fortunately, I am not. Also available this past week, we have Neverwinter's newest module, Underdark. Now, I've already mentioned in the past, part of this storyline is written by New York Times bestselling author R.A. Salvatore, and players will take on the Demogorgon in a new 10-player encounter, but there's a lot more than just that. Some of the new features include Mantle Dareth, a new non-combat adventure hub, 2 new in-game skirmishes, each with 2 different ways to achieve victory. Rifts in the Abyssal Plane now summon demonic encounters throughout the Sword Coast, adding a variety to the open-world heroic encounters, and there are also updates to the trade bar store, allowing easier access to items and economy adjustments, just to name a few. The new update is now live on PC and should follow kinda closely on the console, probably early 2016. Next up, Tera released a new first look type video for the new Brawler class being introduced in Tera's December content release. The Knockout update, as they call it, will not only introduce the new Brawler class, but also 2 new level 65 dungeons and 2 new tiers of top tier armor, the tier 8 Dreadnought set and the tier 9 Starfall set. The new video you see playing here shows off the epic punch and counter moves of the Brawler, and from what I've seen so far, it's definitely the class to play to take advantage of the combo system in the game. Definitely reminds me of the Kung Fu Master in Blade and Soul so far. Should be a really fun class to play in Tera. You guys can't get over the fact that the class is, specific to human-female, that is. It really seems like they'd make so many more players happy if they just didn't do that. Speaking of Blade and Soul, last week apparently the cat got let out of the bag and the launch date was leaked. So NCSoft West decided to announce it anyway. The game is set to launch in North America and Europe on January 19th. I did say it wrong in my first look. Sorry about that, guys. At 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. Wow. Down to the minute on the launch date. Nice. Ahead of the launch, name reservation will be available for Disciple and Master Pack purchasers on January 11th. Now remember, this is the cutoff date for anyone who is actually wanting to return their Founders Pack for whatever reason, according to their website. The head start for all Founders Pack owners will begin on January 15th. But of course, before all of that, Blade & Soul is still in the middle of its closed beta testing, with closed beta weekend 3 coming up this week, starting on November 24th and running through November 30th. A couple extra days longer than normal due to the holiday. Unfortunately, you do have to have a new beta key every time you want to get into a closed beta test. Otherwise, you can, of course, pick up a Founders Pack. Be sure to check out my first look if you haven't already, but in other news, at the Tencent Games Carnival 2015 this past weekend, NCSoft revealed the 9th class for Blade & Soul after the Warlock, the Keymaster, I think it's called. This class is meant to be a hybrid between the Kung Fu Master and the Force Master, capable of using both of their weapons at the same time. It's designed for DPS and support, and the skilled players will need to know how to switch between melee for dealing damage and long range for healing and support skills, so it's probably not the easiest class to learn for beginners. This class is set to release this winter for the Chinese version of the game, but now that NA and EU are in the scene, hopefully it won't take us long to catch up and get it too. And on that note, speaking of class introductions, Black Desert still hasn't announced any new information about an upcoming beta test, or open beta for that matter, but they did just release 6 new videos showcasing and introducing the mechanics for each class. They aren't very long and detailed, but you can get an idea for what you might want to try out when the beta comes around. So check out all 6 videos at the site post from the link in the description below. Next up, I've got to say, Skyforge is always on the ball showing something new in the game. There's never not an update, it seems. This past week, we got a short teaser for the War's Onset update that introduces the first Pantheon War tournament, along with several other PvP-focused changes. The update launches on December 2nd, so stay tuned for more details closer to launch. Interesting enough, Cabal 2 released its Ruins of the Gods update about a month ago, but this past week, the original Cabal launched the Art of War update. EST-Soft unveiled details for its latest content update that apparently features all new ways to battle it out as players embark on new quests and take their place in a new custom PvP arena. In this new PvP battle arena, players can face off against their friends in-game and determine just how much is on the line during battle. In addition to the new areas and arenas in this update, select dungeons throughout the world now feature an elite difficulty and offer the toughest challenge yet. Head over to the site posted at MMOHuts.com for even more details on the brand new update. Starting today, November 23rd, legendary founders for Albion Online can start closed beta, followed by Epic and Veteran on the 24th and 25th respectively. Unfortunately, if you're not willing to pick up a Founders Pack, keys for the game are kinda hard to come by, but I can say that closed beta will be going on and will be testing a lot more than the previous alphas. Not only that, but a lot has changed since the last summer alpha. Things like the Combat 2.0 as they call it, which is showcased in the new video that he's playing here. The changes to combat include more armor diversity, meaning light, medium, and heavy armor types, distinct characteristics for each weapon, and more skill shots. Plus, the gear progression and power curve has been flattened to ensure a more skill-focused outcome. Besides combat, there has been several economy updates, some of which removed silver as a requirement for crafting so you can focus more on the base resources. And of course, we now have private islands which are upgradable, capable of hosting almost all types of buildings and personal laborers. I can say, as hard as it is to find a key to get into this game, it is worth it if you do. It's very fun if you ask me. And finally, for a last bit of news, in last week's recap, I mentioned the new Talisman Challenge Leagues in Path of Exile, and this past week, Grinding Gear Games revealed its next mega expansion called Ascendancy, launching beta sometime late January or early February. This update adds a new twist to the challenges Exile faced in Raid class, and it's all about the Lord's Labyrinth and the Trials of Ascendancy. In this expansion, players will locate and attempt the Trials of Ascendancy created by Emperor Izaro that include a series of different types of gauntlet-style traps like floor spikes, fire pits, buzzsaws, and poison darts. And if you get past all of that, then you can be chosen to enter the Lord's Labyrinth itself, which is completely randomized and includes even more deadly traps working together to take you down. Beyond that, you actually get to face Izaro himself in several forms, but it's not going to be an easy fight. Be sure to check out my What to Expect Path of Exile Ascendancy video for a lot more details and a lot more gameplay. But anyway, guys, that's about it for all the major MMO news and announcements for this really short week of news. We do have a giveaway worth mentioning. Wizard 101 has launched its Polaris update, which increased level cap to 110 and added in a lot of new content. And we've got Explorer packs to give you guys that usually run about $40. Check out the link in the description below for more details, along with more links covering the news featured in the recap, of course. If you're looking for more up-to-the-hour MMO news, head over to MMOHuts.com. Feel free to discuss the news in the comments below and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And until next time, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.